Welcome guys, it's finally time to talk about the Pokemon Sword and Shield Direct that came out just a couple days ago. And like I said in my previous video, I was going to make a reaction to it, but that video just kind of went on too long, so I really didn't bother with it. And I've just been kind of thinking about the Direct for the past couple days and just kind of sitting on the information and kind of just thinking about it. So today we're going to go ahead and go over this.
D-Dub.
Welcome
I would like
Ishihara.
to provide the latest news about the Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield games.
So I've only watched this Direct twice.
To begin,
I kind of wrote
please
some
take a
notes
look at
down
this
and I've
video.
just been, thinking about how it looks and, how it's going to play and just what kind of game this is actually going to be, because it seems after this Direct it's kind of boosted the hype and the quality of what this is actually going to be to like maybe a 50%. It seems like in the first trailer we were only showed like maybe like 25%. And in this one we're showing a lot more. It seems to have alleviated a lot of people's worries that this game was going to be like garbage. And I didn't think that. I'm a little bit more patient. I knew there was a lot of things in this game we didn't see, like for instance in the first trailer, it kind of looked to be, like this question mark, and then going into battle, like maybe it was just such a small Pokemon that you couldn't see it, or that you were in a certain area scanning out some of the smaller ones, like maybe you scanned them or maybe you had like a whistle or something. That was kind of just my thought when we first saw it. But so it's nice to know that, and they didn't clear it up too much, but at least most of this game is not random encounters. I'm not sure if they're going to have all 1,000 Pokemon, just floating around on the maps. And then there's this whole Wildlands situation here. So one of the things I was kind of wondering about was like the Wildlands here. Like, how big is it actually going to be? Because it seems kind of hard to tell. We keep seeing these shots here where there's this, whatever you want to call it, this tall building, this like clock tower, lookout tower thing, and these bridges coming off of it. And you can kind of see through here to the other side where it just looks like it keeps going and going. But it almost seems like kind of like an 8. So it seems like in here you have these two bridges, and that's kind of the waistline, and then there's, two bigger kind of halves to it. And from the way it's worded in this trailer, it kind of seems like the free roam camera is only in this wildlands area, whereas more so in the narrow path in the cities, going down the stairs around like some of those industrialized areas and settings, that's when it's going to be, kind of like not really top down, because you see them like running down the stairs and it's more of like a side view 2D. But that's when it seems like it's going to be more of a fixed camera angle, which I guess makes sense in cities because there's not too much to see. But it does seem like there's more Main Street elements with a lot of different stores and like storefronts and open huts and stuff like that. But this game seems like it's shaping up to have more promise of being like an actual like RPG. Pokemon has always been an RPG, but lighter in story elements and more just in that linear kind of focus. Go here, get a badge. Go here, get a badge. Go on Route 23, go from here to here, point A to point B. Keep training, keep grinding, keep catching Pokemon. Stomp out any trainers you find in the way, and then you're on to the next thing. And, there was also this leak from this other guy who basically like 2 weeks ago put a lot of information out, and it seems like he got a lot of stuff right. And there was mention of open world kind of aspect where you don't really have to go in order of the gyms. You can kind of pick out and do what you want at your own pace. At least that's kind of from the way it sounded, at least the way that he had typed it out in his leak list. But he did get a lot of the information correct, so that was kind of impressive. I'm not really going to touch on that here because we don't really know yet. But it is kind of cool because we have this max rage battle, like the Dynamaxing of the Pokemon, where they're going to be huge Godzilla looking. And I think that's kind of a cool new mechanic. I'm wondering if they have any other type of new things like up their sleeves. And this game just is looking amazing.
Towns in which you will find humans and Pokemon.
So I'm also wondering in this game, it seems to me that Wooloo And he's obviously a sheep. Everyone is loving this sheep. And local weavers and, you know, textile manufacturers are basically like in demand of this wool off of him. So are we going to be able to like shave him, or are we just going to be able to get the wool from him? And then they also show and talk about this Pokemon here later about how it has healing qualities. So it seems like in this game, there's going to be, probably not with the older Pokemon, but with the newer ones, it seems like in this new game that these Pokemon are going to have like healing qualities. And like, you know, this one here, it basically says that it's, you know, seeds like help cure ailments. And then another one has like a life force kind of quality to it that helps grow out the wildlands and helps bloom trees and basically grow out, you know, the grass and the flowers and the actual like wild land. And then there's, you know, another Pokemon that can pretty much chew through steel and rock. So it seems like they're going to have a little bit more elements to some of these Pokemon that actually have more to do with the game other than just your cut being to cut down a tree. You're going to be like collecting these seeds maybe to make potions from certain Pokemon since they have healing qualities, or maybe in some areas there's like a rock slide or something and you're going to use one of the other Pokemon's kind of life ability to like grow the land out and maybe push something out of the way, or, you know, something like that. I can't see them getting too crazy with it. I find it cool that, you know, some of these Pokemon are going to have more qualities to them that they've never had in previous versions of the game, you know, anime or just in the Pokemon world in general. So that's kind of cool. So this is also cool that you have this giant bird here and he's going to be your taxi. I kind of missed that the first time because, you know, I was reading like chat and stuff, but then, you know, I also looked at this chalkboard and kind of watching it like on my phone. I was wondering if, you know, in any of the scenes there's maybe like some hidden stuff, but as far as I looked, I didn't really see anything that was, you know, hidden about it. But here, like he's talking about, you know, these seeds on it are basically something that you can take and use as an item. So they have, you know, wild growing properties as well as healing between, you know, these Pokemon and humans. So that's something that's just completely new to Pokemon. I haven't seen anybody else really talk about that. And they mention it with, you know, a couple different Pokemon. So that's something new, and I think that could be maybe just a small mechanic, but it could actually come in quite useful, and maybe it's spread across like all these new Pokemon if there's, you know, 80 or 90 new ones, and it could really change things. I mean, look at that. I also want to say that, you know, just how beautiful like the landscape is. I mean, this is the wild land, but it's, you know, it kind of looks like a Breath of the Wild meets, you know, Ocarina of Time, kind of just this not completely open world. Like it doesn't seem like you can get up on these mountains and stuff. You have like this industrial wall over here that's going to seem to close in, you know, its own city with its own things going on over there. But you see this giant bridge. There's all these like waypoints, which I know they sort of explain that, but but they don't explain it very in depth. So, you know, I'm curious to see how that's going to turn out. But overall, this game it's really, really looking good. What people were initially saying, you know, that it looks like a 3DS game, just upscaled, because it's definitely not that. This is its own game built for the Switch.
And it's filled with abundant nature as far as the eye can see.
As far as the eye can see, but like I said, it keeps showing these bridges here, and you can't tell just what side it's on and how far these wildlands actually stretch. Like you keep seeing these two bridges here in between these two buildings, and then some of the other shots seem to be down through this little valley here and on the opposite side. So that seems like it'll still be pretty big, but like maybe down here where there's this like, you know, it looks sandy, but it's also got these kind of like, you know, these dead trees sticking up. Like I'm wondering if you can really go down there. I'm sure some of this is going to be segmented and some of it you won't actually be able to interact with, but if you can 100% walk this whole wildland, then that's going to be incredible. Because just from here, like this looks really cool, but it does have that Breath of the Wild feel, because if there's not very much going on, then you're just going to be kind of beelining it through here with not much to do in this kind of vast open land. And I'm wondering if there's any other of these like
that makes a Pokemon giant
wildland segments with like the free roam camera, if you're going to have any of that in between like certain towns, or if between one town and another town it's kind of like a route, you know, straight shot with a little bit of like wooded area and, you know, Pokemon catching and stuff. And then if in other areas you might come out of a city and have there be, you know, a free roam camera kind of like open world section that just transitions and gives kind of like the world map a little bit of a better flow. I think they might have something like that, and that would be pretty cool to see. So as you hear, you know, they say you can connect to other players, and they don't really mention online. But what I did find interesting was right here it says, you know, additional accessories may be required for multiplayer mode. So that's kind of the wording they always use. It doesn't say additional accessories are required. So it says they may be required. So with this additional Pokemon event that they just had like a week and a half ago, where they're talking about all these new games and new accessories and stuff, I'm thinking there's going to be another new accessory that comes out with this game, and that just like with the Pokeball Plus for Pokemon Let's Go, Eevee, and Pikachu, that we'll be able to use that in this game somehow. So it's also strange that it says game systems and some accessories sold separately. So, you know, there's this double pack that they're showing, and they didn't give price, they didn't give details. It kind of just shows the box with what you would think is, you know, one copy of Sword and one copy of Shield. But it just seems strange that they chose this wording that, you know, some accessories may be required for multiplayer mode, games and systems, and some accessories sold separately. So I definitely think that there's a new accessory coming of some sort that will be most likely sold on its own, and then is also maybe in this double pack, or maybe there's just a standard double pack with both the games, and then there's like the deluxe pack with both the games and this new accessory or two. But I'm definitely thinking that there's at least one new accessory, and I'm wondering if that'll just be like a $30-$40 thing, and then if this, you know, from my equation, the $199 GameStop SKU that we saw in the GameStop leak just a couple days ago, I'm wondering if the $199 SKU is for Pokemon Sword and Shield, like a double pack with maybe the Pokeball Plus from, you know, Pokemon Let's Go, Eevee, and Pikachu, and with a new accessory of some sort, because it seems like we are going to definitely be getting a new accessory of some kind. I haven't seen anybody else mention this in any of their videos, but with the wording and with the way the Pokemon Company is, and with this last recent event that they had where they're coming out with Pokemon Sleep of all things, and, you know, these other new games and stuff, it just seems like they're going to keep pushing forward with these other accessories and peripherals that they have that are either going to link to your phone and the Switch at the same time, or maybe to Pokemon Go and or Let's Go and the Pokebank and, you know, the new Switch games as well as online. It definitely seems like there's going to be some sort of connectivity between maybe just a couple of those or maybe all of them. I personally think they're going to try to connect all of these and somehow be able to use this new game along with Pokemon Let's Go and along with Pokemon Go as well. And then down here, Nintendo Switch membership, you know, sold separately. A Nintendo account required for online play. So I'm guessing that that would kind of be about the same as Pokemon Let's Go and Eevee, where it's kind of just random battles. I don't really think you're going to be able to play with your friends because, you know, these games and Nintendo, they don't want that for us. They're not utilizing anything like that for, you know, this new era of gaming that we're in. They're not utilizing any of it, and they just don't seem interested in using anything like that or giving us any types of features like that. So I think the online for this game is going to be quite bare, but again, we'll have to see. Maybe. And also one of the other things that I'm definitely pumped about this game for is the music, because when they first showed the Wildlands, they kind of have this piano cadence that sort of reminds me of the very first notes that you hear in Breath of the Wild, like when the game starts up or when they first showed the trailer, you know, back in E3 like 2016. It kind of has this chimey thing on the piano, and there's a similar little piece of music that they have in here when they showed like the Wildlands earlier. So I'm definitely pumped for the music. And this game's also going to be cool because, you know, it's showing more life to the actual world and to the people and the community that, you know, are in these different cities. Like in this game, the people spectate on these Pokemon events.
Take a look.
So just all the people packing the Pokemon stadiums and stuff, it just has a new ability for, you know, a whole new layer of like mechanics or some sort of gameplay to actually be like utilized into this Pokemon world. So that's pretty cool. And then as we see right here, these pretty cool legendaries. I gotta say, I like the sword one. I mean, they're both kind of cool looking. Having a shield for a face is a little bit weird, but having a sword in your mouth as this big giant wolf dog is kind of weird too. But so there's Poppy and there's Max. Those are my dogs. And I just want to say that the mock-up that I did for the thumbnail, I took the picture right after I saw this direct the other day. And then after, I wanted to get it up online as quick as I could because I knew it was going to be like a meme of showing like different dogs with, you know, trying to put like swords in their mouths and stuff. So I quickly grabbed like my kid's sword and his Captain America shield and tried to get my dogs to go along. It was hard. It took me like 10 or 15 minutes. Like I had to get a rawhide bone and unravel it, and I had to put it on the sword, and I kept trying to put it in my beagle's mouth, and he was just like dropping it and looking at me like, what do you want? And finally, after like 10 or 15 minutes of like fussing with him, he finally just held it in his mouth and was just looking around like, what do you want me to do with it? And I was just like, sit still. And I hurried up and I took the picture. So I hope you guys like that.
Thanks to all of our Pokemon Sword.
So there we go. Release date, November 15th. It's going to be cool. A lot of people said, you know, the artwork here on the covers isn't anything magnificent, and I kind of agree. You know, it looks like Pokemon. I guess it could have been a little bit better. So we have the release date there. So that's pretty much that. If you're new to the channel, hit subscribe. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, especially for my dogs. You know, if you like them, give it a thumbs up, and I will catch you guys in another video.